Do you know that your child is caring, loving, sweet, kind, funny, but something happens and they flip like Jekyll and Hyde, and now you're dealing with somebody completely unrecognizable? You've tried all of the positive parenting techniques. The doctor has said your child has a behavior disorder, they need therapy and medication. You're doing all that without seeing any change. Well, my name's Bonnie, and I was you not that long ago, trying everything to gain cooperation with my 4 kids who are all being diagnosed with different mental health disorders until I met this gentleman, Thomas Leota, back in 2011, who showed me a brand new way to speak with my kids, to be proactive and guiding with my kids, and he totally helped me transform all of our lives. I could watch the symptoms of these behavior disorders fall by the wayside, and before you know it, my house was happy, calm, peaceful. My kids had a new zest for life. So today we're going to talk about the birth of the Creating Champions for Life philosophy, where it came from, and by the time that you're done today's episode, you're going to have hope, and you're going to see that there's actually nothing wrong with your child. It is the parenting approach that is broken. Welcome to the Learn to Speak Kid podcast. We are Bonnie and
Thomas Leota.
Yes, and we help parents transform the most defiant, disruptive child behavior without mind-altering medication, years of therapy that goes nowhere, or any type of harsh punishment. And Tom, I'm super excited about this conversation today because before you came into my life, I was so lost as a parent that I was laying in fetal position on my bathroom floor crying as my kids were taking over my house. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, how ridiculous is it? I was this business leader. I had over 10,000 people on my team. I worked my whole life to give my kids the life I always wanted. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yep.
And it was completely backfiring on me. And it's just so silly how us grown-up adult people are hiding in our bedrooms, walking on eggshells in our own homes, because nothing works from this positive discipline. Call it gentle attachment, peaceful, conscious, call it whatever. It's authoritative parenting.
Correct.
So I want to ask you, where did you learn to speak to kids the way that you speak to kids?
Well, I'll give you a quick little rundown, but visualize working with over 150,000 kids.
Yeah.
This is a big sample.
That's a big deal considering I've seen Facebook ads that say, get your therapy degree in 40 hours. And it had nothing to do with working with kids. So that right in itself is a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands-on working with kids.
Hands-on working with kids. Okay.
And it started off when I was a senior in high school through Little League Baseball. I had 2 younger brothers that no dad wanted to actually coach them, so I had a chance to come into there because I played baseball quite a bit. I was also very avid with video games, and then I got this amazing dream job of being a gameplay counselor at Nintendo.
Yeah, they don't even have that job anymore, huh?
No, it was one of those arrows that opened and closed, but I had a chance to talk to over 144,000 people on that. That's a lot of reps. And this is all about going from can't to can. It's being able to, some people call it problem solving. We call it puzzle solving, right? Because there's a different shift in just the mindset, right? Yeah. And it was the biggest shift was when I had a chance to be in martial arts. It took me 5 years to get my black belt. And what I noticed that with Little League Baseball, parents were kind of like always, hey, stop running around, pay attention, things like this.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? My mom, when I was in Girl Guides, she'd be like, stand up, get your hands out of the pockets. I'm 7 years old. I'm in outfield. The ball never came to me for an hour and a half, so I just sat on the ground and picked grass, and that would upset my mother. So I know what you're talking about there.
And here's kind of the approach, is a lot of times we talked about, you heard a lot of double negatives, Stop talking. Don't do that. But what I noticed a lot is that the parents were almost reliving their childhood through their kids. I mean, the child was almost there for their behalf.
Yeah. So, well, let me talk about that. From a mother's perspective, I did actually have a conscious thought that I wanted to give my kids the life I always wanted. Right? My friends went on vacations. They wore designer clothes. They got to do a lot of things that I thought I should have been able to do. And so then when I became a parent, I just made it my life's mission to make a lot of money and give them a dream life. And that completely backfired on me later on.
That sounds
so
a
I
lot
can understand
like
what you're saying.
Authoritative parenting where they give things up front like bribery and have expectations. I want you to act a certain way. It's really counterintuitive to what we call this goal power, like you're running on what is important to you. So it was in 1994 when I actually was to go through, and I got my black belt, and I had a chance to now be in a leadership role once again to teach the new students. And see, when I came up, it was like, well, the perfect class was not getting whacked with the bamboo stick. So you would do a technique, and I remember Grandmaster Yee be like, that's too slow, Tom. Well, I could notice that, if you're telling me too slow, that just means, oh, I see potential in you. I could reframe it and think of it as positive. You just need to go faster. I see you could do better than what it would be.
Because God gifted you with something called?
Well, we're all born with it. I just never got rid of it. It's called dyslexia, meaning you can see all three options simultaneous where we really live in a binary world. There's only 2 out of the 3 that are given, and we can leave that for another episode.
Okay.
But when I looked at that and I said, a perfect class was not getting whacked with the bamboo stick one time.
Okay.
Not too many people. The ratio is about 1,000 to 1 students can actually go from white to black in the old school way.
Okay.
But you were very well trained.
Yep.
But it was there. I had a moment of clarity. I said, when I get a chance to teach the white belts, I'm going to do the opposite of anything negative thought or negative feeling. And what it did is it came down to behavior. Behavior is neutral. So I can either punish it, which was the way everything is done in mainstream parenting right now.
Yep.
You didn't do that, so I'm taking this back.
Correct. There's a consequence.
Double negative.
Yep.
Or you guide the behavior with goal power.
There's a goal.
And if they knew how to do it, they would already do it. So we would tap into monkey see, monkey do. Let me show you what it would be. Allow me to believe in you. So this way, they got a chance to actually be guided as a big kid trusted advisor. They were running on what was most important to them. And that's what's missing in all mainstream parenting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When I first met you and I had been taught to be a good mom means to read your child a bedtime story at nighttime. And I had 4 kids. And so it was like an hour to an hour and a half long process every single night to tuck my kids in. And so I remember going, Zach. Now, Zach was my youngest. He was 6.5 years old. He had already been diagnosed with ADHD and the most severe case of oppositional defiant disorder. And here's Tom. Right. He's a guest in my house. And I'm just thinking, oh gosh, it's bedtime, and I'm walking on eggshells thinking that there was a 3 to 4 hour screaming session coming up and how embarrassing that was going to be. And I still didn't know that you knew anything about kids. I had no idea.
True.
And so I'm as nice as possible. Hey, Zach, it's almost time for bed. You want to come get your pajamas on? And we got to read a story, we need time. And Tom comes around the corner, and do you remember what you said to Zach?
Yeah, the bottom line is I knew that was what you wanted. I could see the pattern.
Wanted him to go to bed.
And you wanted him to read, to read him a story.
Yeah, because I was being a good mom.
Now, I want to validate that because, you're not going to argue with morals, ethics, and safety. I mean, let's just let that be what it is. But see, I came in and just operated on goal power with Zach. I was like, hey, Zach, can I ask you a couple questions? Yeah? Would you like to go to bed now with a story or in 10 minutes without a story?
Yeah.
And see, his goal was he wanted to go to bed when he wanted to go to bed, and I don't want that story.
Right.
That's the truth.
That day, anyway.
Now, I have to give full disclosure here. Bonnie's hot. When I first met her, I was just like dream world, googly. Oh, my gosh. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, what could I do to impress her where she would make me her top tier guy in her world? So really, it was pretty selfish to just show you what's natural with kids for a selfish reason that you would like me.
Yeah, well, what was really interesting, because I know like in gentle parenting, they teach you to offer choices as well. So that might not be like groundbreaking. Okay, great, you gave him a choice. But what was groundbreaking and a little bit different was, number one, that was the first time in Zach's life he actually got an opportunity to think and choose what he wanted, which made him happy. Secondly is you did something that is not normal in mainstream parenting. You took a few minutes to proactively give him some attention by showing him how to tell the time on the clock. You gave him 100% responsibility of what 10 minutes would look like on the clock, so he could then make a choice and he could engage in his personal empowerment is what I saw, which was like, holy crap.
Right. So when you talk just briefly about how parents always give options, right? That's not a new thing, right? Just go to the gas station and there's 3 different things to pick from. They don't care which one. It's all the same gas. But what ends up happening is those choices are still what you want. That's the razor's edge difference. And I also knew that Zach was missing the life skill on how to tell time. Nobody ever taught him how to tell time. So I took it over and go, you know what 10 minutes looks like on the clock? No. So I showed him the hand when it goes there to there. So he knew it. So now he actually got to see something that you know, but he didn't. You would assume he did. So when he went away, and then in 10 minutes, what did he do, Bonnie?
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, okay, fine. We'll start the screaming meltdowns in 10 minutes from now instead of just now.
True.
But he came up 10 minutes later all by himself, gave me a hug, gave you a hug, said, I love you, and went to bed happily, and I didn't see him again till morning, and that was the first time in his entire life that he actually went to bed on his own. And I want to bring up a point here. I never would have even thought to teach him how to tell time. I would have given him 10 minutes and then thought it was my responsibility to remind him, nag him, go get him, which would have started the process all over again. So that was just my first little glimpse of creating champions for life. I didn't really realize what was going on. I thought it was just a fluke. Cool. There's another strange person in my house. So he went to bed happily. Didn't think too much of it. But after you continued to come to Canada and I could see again and again just little glimpses of harmony, little glimpses of like mental health happiness versus these diagnosis of behavior disorders. Eventually, I was like, where did you learn to speak to kids like that? So we know you did Little League Baseball. We know you did coaching with Nintendo. We know that you said, I'm going to do the opposite of anything negative. Share what that looked like in your classroom. Because when you said, I'm going to do the opposite of anything negative to guide my white belts, you didn't really know what that would look like as a whole at the time.
Well, as you would see other people would do is you have like, let's say there's 30 kids in the class.
Yep.
And obviously there's order, right? Like you have a curriculum. You're going from here through there. And you got 1 or 2 that might be doing something because they're just too scared to not do anything. But then you got all these little, it's like herding cats, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But see, when you run on goal power, you see, we all have an autonomy for attention. Key, if we don't get attention when an offspring's born, it will die. So this is not just some have it, some don't. This is a survival instinct. Mm-hmm. And when you understand this, you either punish it or you guide it. And that's how simple it truly can be.
Yeah.
So I got all these kids, and I have like little Richard over there, and he would be, usually we'd have a protocol. You line up in a certain ranking. Well, he came over, and he already did his little practice wall kicks, and then he sat down, crisscross applesauce, hands in hand, and his back straight, head is down. And he's now getting ready to line up for class. So where did all my attention go? Well, as I watched everybody else in life, we're going, and I'll be like, woo, well, hey, looky there. Guess who I caught doing something correct, perfect, and right? Little Richard, are you the one that knew exactly where to go sit down? Look at you with your back straight, legs crossed. You look like a champion in the making who is running on goal power. Yeah. Look at you wanting to be all you can be.
Wow.
And with absolute certainty, already knowing, because of all the references of all my life, 150,000 of them.
Yeah.
again and again and again, the same pattern. Click, 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 click. All the other kids were going, "Ooh, there's attention going around here, and I want some. Oh, monkey see, monkey do. Oh, if he do that, now I can play follow the leader." And they fell into place like dominoes.
They wanted the praise. They wanted the recognition, the attention.
No, and then you got one kid that might run around in class when everybody's doing their techniques, and I'd be like, wow. How many of us are going to take a time to say, thank you? I think his name was Aaron. How many of us are going to give thank you to Aaron for running up and down the class all through you while you're practicing your blocks? You see, you validate that he was actually going, he goes, I bet he believes that all of you could practice this even with an outstanding obstacle looking to get you off your attention.
Amazing.
And as soon as he got that attention, like, I got seen for what I was wanting to do, guess where he went? He stopped the behavior. He went back in the line because the number one thing for attention is we just want to be seen, heard, and more importantly, validated.
Yeah.
And that's missing in parenting because it's all rigged backwards.
Yeah.
But once you know it,
you never go back.
Yeah, working with kids. And so that's really where the language is. There's principles in place that have been around since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. And when we introduce it into parenting, you've already seen what it would be with your family. And that's why you brought this gift to the world, Bonnie.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've read all the parenting books, man. I had a dream that I was going to be so great to my kids, so loving to my kids that they'd skip, terrible twos and teenage rebellion. I knew that parenting was the cause of that because I could still remember being a teenager who was rebellious.
Right.
So there's something inside of me that kind of knew. But when you read all the parenting books and you go to the parenting classes and you're literally being taught positive discipline. Now think about this, mom and dad. Timeouts, takeaways, bribes, lectures, reminding, nagging, dictating,
it's all negative.
Overcompensating. Like when you really write down on a piece of paper all of the strategies, the theories that have been taught since 1946, because obviously before 1946, you just beat children in the back with a switch, which was obviously very negative. But what happened was, when Dr. Spock said we shouldn't be beating children, all children require is attention, we should lavish them with attention, and we should redirect and take things away from them when they do something we don't like. So that has become a habit for all parents in the industry of parenting for the last 85 to 90 years.
Sure.
And the introduction of behavior disorders has also been introduced, in the last 75 to 80 years. So it's right in correlation with that. And then when you came into my life and you were like, you never punished the kids. You never yelled at the kids. You never used timeouts or takeaways. You just had this perfect, beautiful, guiding language, always focused on what they can do, never what they can't do. Of course, I had to phone you every day for 6 months asking you, what do I say and what do I do here? But what I noticed was my kids, they became just more confident. They became internally happy from the inside out. They had goals that they were striving for. What your philosophy did was it matched everything I ever learned in personal development. It matched everything that I ever learned about scripture, because I can't imagine Jesus ever yelling at a kid or that was bad, or grabbing a kid's arm and saying, I won't let you do that. It just didn't really match anything that I had ever learned on that side of the spectrum.
Right.
So when I changed my life and I did my due diligence, what other parenting philosophy focuses on goal power? What other parenting philosophy focuses on the teaching of life skills? And I couldn't find any, which is why I literally prayed, what do I do?
Right.
And the message I got was give everything you got to Creating Champions for Life, which brings us here. Now, we're out of time today. So if you have more to say, we should do it on another part 2.
Good. I'd like to just share this last comment.
Okay.
When you hear the label of attention deficit, think of it this way. I see a genius who's just embracing her own uniqueness. That is an attention deficit. But when you could reframe it and just see, there's a little genius who's just embracing her own uniqueness, and that's where your thumbprint comes into play, and you can validate that they're supposed to do it in their own unique way. That's where an attention surplus comes into play. On the next episode, we'll definitely talk about attention surplus versus attention deficit.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. I actually love that. Okay. All right. So we learned that positive discipline is based on theory, not positive at all. And we learned that when you focus on autonomy, when you focus on proactive and positive attention, monkey see, monkey do, the kids start to like trust you. They start to see you as their trusted advisor, and their behavior begins to change internally from the inside out versus having to always come on from the outside, whether it be therapy or medication or timeouts or punishment or grounding. All of that is trying to fix the kid from the outside in, where you get them from the inside out, where they internally choose to cooperate. They internally feel like my life matters. Like it's such a big difference. So if this episode hits you at all, if you'd like to see more from us, make sure to subscribe, make sure to click like, make sure to share this episode with a friend. Also comment underneath the video, because we can come up with our new episode ideas based on what you're thinking right now. So with that all being said, until we meet again, here's to our parenting success.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.